got 19 5-star ratings. That's a good book.
That's rubbish, isn't it?
What do you mean that's rubbish? That's good.
People are shit at writing reviews, honestly.
Yeah, of course they are. You can pay like little blokes in India to do them for you, though.
I know, but I don't want to do that.
But then you become Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, but that's just bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, but the whole world is.
I know, but I don't.
Nothing's
that's what
real. All of this
literally
is fake.
What I don't
We're in the
pay
Matrix.
to.
Yeah, everything is smoke and mirrors. Just play along.
No, I'm not very good at that. Don't do bullshit. Sorry.
We built an entire business on bullshit.
Oh yeah, you're in recruitment. We know
Ooh,
that.
Ouch.
Burn.
Right, should we get going then? Tristan, you want to clap us in?
I'll do the intro.
Okay.
The jam in this jammy dodger.
Jam in the... Yeah, okay, yeah. Are you okay being jam?
Sure.
Cool. Welcome back to Rec Talk, UK's number one podcast in the recruitment sector by some metric, probably filmed in Coventry or something like that. We're getting there. We're finding it. Our guest today is the owner, founder, creator of Kick-Ass CVs, Rebecca Pay.
Hi.
Hi, Rebecca. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I chose not to go down the Jammy Dodger route.
Why? Bottled it.
Yeah,
So we had this thing, right, where we try and introduce a guest by creating these weird, like, analogies. So the other day we had the creamy filling in this Oreo that we call a podcast.
Oh my god. Okay.
And then
It just seems creepy.
yeah,
That is creepy.
It's not creepy.
It was, and then
the
Will
ham
was
and cheese.
Will was the
Will was the cream in the Oreo, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. No, he was the marshmallow floating in this hot chocolate that we call a podcast.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah.
And I'm getting it now. Saying that back out loud, that sounds really creepy.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't say
You
it.
could have done with
Rebecca.
an ice cream one because ice cream's my branding. So
Yeah, what's with that? What's with the ice cream?
I just like ice cream, really. And when I first started on LinkedIn, I found that, funnily enough, selfies have come back in now, but at the beginning, selfies did quite well as well, about 3 years ago. And it was summer. I was eating a lot of ice cream, so I was posting pictures of me with an ice cream. And then it just accidentally became my branding because everyone started associating me with ice creams.
Called you the ice cream lady.
And so I just kept it. And people were like, oh, yeah, you're the ice cream one that does CVs. And it's like, as long as you get known for something, then it's like it works. Like, obviously, I don't sell ice creams, but people still remember the CV bit. So that's.
I think there's a market there for you, though, isn't
But
there?
you could sell ice creams.
I probably could sell ice creams, yeah.
Although, by your own admission, you're very good at selling, you were saying, so you're going to have to market those ice creams somewhere.
True, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
off camera, she was saying that she keeps getting people giving her advice on how she should kind of scale the business and what she should focus on. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. And I was just like, yeah, okay. And ask them, where's your CV writing business then? Go on.
Yeah,
Show me
that's
your
it.
multi-million-pound CV writing business.
Everyone's always got great ideas, haven't they, for your business?
Yeah, it's
We have it all the time. We had this one person within our recruitment world who was running a recruitment agency, and he eventually had to shut it down, but was offering his services as a consultant to recruitment businesses like ours that he could help support.
Oh, because he'd done so well.
yeah. He was like, oh, I just really want to be a business consultant. I'm like, well, I mean, that's great. I really want a Lamborghini, but
That's like the LinkedIn
Both of those things aren't gonna
coaches.
happen.
You get I genuinely saw a post once from a LinkedIn coach saying, "Oh, I don't know what's going on with the algorithm. I can't get people to comment on my post. Blah blah."
there's a hole in the
You're
matrix.
someone
if
who
you-
is supposedly teaching other people how to do it.
That's your job.
And this is someone who's got a massive following on Facebook. And gets a lot of people signed up to their services through Facebook to help them with LinkedIn. But actually, when you look at their stuff on LinkedIn, they're not that good on LinkedIn, and they don't get any traction, and they're not.
I don't get the whole
And I'm
LinkedIn
like,
hype
why
of
is someone following it? Why are you trusting this person when they can't even run their own LinkedIn page? It's mad.
smoke and mirrors. Like I said, the whole world is smoke and mirrors.
It
just
really
to play
is.
devil's advocate, though, there is that element of not all good players make good coaches, sort of thing, or not all bad players are bad coaches.
True, my CV is shit, to be fair. So
The irony. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
let's edit that bit.
Kick-ass CVs then. Tell us about kick-ass CVs.
Yeah. What is a kick-ass CV?
what is a kick-ass CV? Well, it's a CV that gets you an interview, essentially.
Is that not the
I
same
would
as a
say
normal CV, though?
Well, a lot of CVs don't seem to achieve that.
Touche.
And also interviews for the right jobs, like the jobs you actually really want. Mm-hmm. Because I think a lot of people get a bit bored with adapting CVs and doing this, that, and that, and they just send out the same boring, crappy CV, and they might get some interviews, but it might not necessarily be the jobs they're really wanting. And I think the more kind of tailored and more specific to you can be, like the more you can be on your CV, which is like a really wanky thing to say, but it's true. Like you have to get yourself across on the CV.
So how do you do that then? How do you take
rubbish.
a personality like yours, for example, and put that on a paper and go, this is me?
Stick an ice cream logo next to it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's hard. I think it's really hard to do for yourself. I think that's why I have a business and I have clients, because people struggle to do it for themselves.
Well, it's unnatural, isn't it, to try and talk about yourself and try and, you know, people generally just are like, oh, I don't want to really sell myself. I don't know how to sell myself.
Yeah, unless you're in sales.
Well, then
You'd be surprised. Quite a lot of my clients are sales people.
Oh, really?
That struggle to get it on paper, because they're like, if they get it themselves into the interview, they can sell themselves, but they're not so good at doing it on paper.
Yeah. Which is that kind of that copywriting piece then that
yeah, it's
so
interesting because
yeah.
even people that might be good at doing it for someone else aren't that always good at doing it for themselves.
Okay.
So what would a kick-ass CV look like then?
Well, layout wise, I keep it pretty simple, to be honest, because I don't think you need like the flashing lights and the fancy borders and whatever on your CV to make it stand out. I think the important thing is the content. I think it needs to be really simple and easy to read, so that when someone scans through it, they can see the main skills and what you're about straight away. There's not like a load of waffle that you've got to get through. You want to be highlighting the main achievements and the main skills on the first page, because let's face it, recruiters do not, or hiring managers do not look at CVs for very long. Mm-hmm. You've got to grab someone's attention pretty damn quick.
Recruiters don't either.
No.
Truthfully, recruiters don't either. We've worked with a ton of them, and I would argue the bulk of them will probably spend no more than 10 seconds reading the CV, scanning for keywords, and then going, this person's no good.
They look at job titles, don't they?
Job
for the
titles.
most part, it's literally just, I'm looking for a management accountant. This guy says he's got finance manager on his CV. He's not the right person for me. And that's it. And they move on. And you look at it, and if you really kind of break it down and start looking at the content of what they're writing, that's when you really get a true reflection of what...
can this person actually do the job that I've been engaged to kind of find a person for?
Yeah, but then also sort of seeing kind of... well, certainly from the recruitment side, is having a look at somebody who's got a set of skills and thinking, okay, well, can I apply that to more than just this one job that I'm looking for? Just taking the blinkers off. Whereas for your CVs, they're going to be quite specific then, I guess, for the roles that they're applying for, or what they'd like to do.
Yeah, so I generally work with like leadership roles and like quite high level people. But my advice for anyone is really that you need to get a really good core CV together that describes you and your main skills and achievements, but then you need to adapt and tailor that every time you apply for a job, which might feel like an absolute ball ache at the time, but that extra bit of work,
it's a great upsell.
that extra bit of work that you put in is what will make the difference to get the interviews that you want, because it's all too easy just to send the same CV to 100 applications.
And you call that kick-ass plus, right? Where you then amend the CV 3 further times.
Kick-ass premium.
Order now for...
Well, I do actually have some packages where you literally have that kind of add-on.
Well, yeah, of course. But again,
do different
they've already bought into what you do, right? So
how does that process work then? So let's say someone like me or Nitin. Let's say like...
We're not senior enough.
Oh, we're not. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't work with the likes of you. So.
Okay. Well, let's say Tristan. Tristan's a senior level IT developer, director. He knows his stuff. He's the brains behind the entire operation, really.
Awful at selling himself, though.
Yeah, terrible. So you have someone like Tristan come to you who, okay, but actually that's probably a really good
example. Yeah, because Tristan's core skill set is fantastic, but he really struggles to sell himself on paper. So,
how's Tristan feeling about this conversation?
Clearly, really comfortable.
Absolutely loving it.
Tristan, just don't put your face in front of the camera. Show the world. No, but so how does that process work then? So we come in and you have this reserved very introvert who's obviously got a good set of skills, and but just doesn't know how to put that on paper. What process do you go through?
Well, my process is chatting to people essentially. It's done by Zoom, but Zoom's all right. It works. So I get to know someone and chat to them, and I don't know. I'm quite good at just chatting to people, and they just tend to open up, to be honest, and I chat about anything and all and everything, and like people just tell you all sorts of things, and just get them to talk about the things that they've done in their job, like what was their favourite role, like why was it their favourite role, and then you start getting them thinking like, actually, why was that my favourite role? And people are like, oh, And like, what were your main achievements? I get people to fill in a form before they have like the main call with me, so they have to start thinking about what their top 3 achievements were, what their main skills are. So they're already kind of thinking about it, and people are like, oh god, this is really hard to answer. And then you start thinking, well, hang on, what did you do in this role, and what was the impact you had? And it just gets them thinking about it in a more positive way, and stuff that people have forgotten often, like what they've done, and it suddenly kind of comes back to them, and they're like, oh, actually, yeah, I did. Like,
it's amazing, isn't it, how many people wouldn't put something down as like an achievement or a skill set on their CV because they just assume that, well, that's what you should be doing, and they don't consider it as an achievement or a skill. Where it's like, you'd be surprised how many people don't do that though.
Yeah, exactly.
At various different levels.
I had a call, like, because I do like sort of diagnostic calls, like. To kind of go through someone's CV and tell them how to sort it out, basically, which can then lead on to me doing it, or it can just be that's a one-off thing, like you just need that bit of the service and then you go off and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And I had a client last night who was a teacher trying to move into a different area, and we had this exact conversation where I was like, well, think about this, all the stuff you do. She was like, well, that's not really in my job description, but I do this, that, and the other. We arranged this charity event at school, and we did this and that. And I was like, those are the kind of things you need to put on there. And she's like, oh, I hadn't even thought of those things. And that I was like, that's all that extra stuff you do.
Because they're so programmed to just think about the core work in which they do and think about kind of, deliverables within the teaching world of,
exactly.
data sets and blah, blah, blah.
And with her, I had to help her feel like she's not... I said, you need to start thinking of yourself as not a teacher. Like when you're writing a CV, think about yourself as the person who's going to do one of these other roles that you want to do, because you need to write it in a different way. Because at the moment, you're writing your CV as a teacher, because it's the first line was, I'm a... teacher for 10 years. I've been like a successful teacher for 10 years, blah 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 blah. And I was like, we're not hiding the fact that you're a teacher, but you need to change the way that someone perceives you, because otherwise, like you said, people will look at job titles and then immediately be put off.
And it's also there's a level of assumption as well, though, that if you're kind of, you get rid of the kind of totally non-relevant CV applications that come into a job, but it's almost assumptive then that people that are applying for this job will have that skill level and competence anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like you would expect somebody who's applying for a senior teacher or a head teacher or whatever to be at that level for them to be able to apply. So actually the CV needs to go beyond just the job title. It needs to be, how are you going to impact our business or our school or our department? So how do you pull that out of them then? Especially if they're someone like a introvert.
Well, most people... even introverts, I'm a bit of both, to be honest, but like most people, when you're one-to-one with someone, will open up and chat to you quite easily anyway. And like I try to make it quite a relaxed situation where it's like you can have a laugh and whatever and talk about anything and it's fine, and then just they tend to chat to you and talk to you about them, and then I pick up on stuff they say and use that when I write the CV, and I'm just good at kind of getting someone's personality down on paper.
So how did you come up with that then? So at what point were you thinking, I'm gonna then start writing CVs for these senior leaders and kind of experienced guys who just don't seem to get it for themselves?
It's just kind of evolved really, because I started in proofreading and copywriting just because I wanted my own business, because I wanted to look after my child myself basically when I had a baby, like about 9.5 years ago now. And I just started very small and gradually built up. And when I went onto LinkedIn probably 3 or 4 years ago, I started doing a couple of CVs because people asked me to, and I was like, oh, okay. And an American guy was like, well, I would have paid you double that, like what I charged him. He said, this is really good. And it got him an interview instantly, whereas his old CV had done nothing. And I was like, okay, there might be something in this. Like, this might actually, because before I'd just been, mates for favours and like, favours for mates and like, 30 quid CV, blah, blah, that's fine. But, then I realised there was actually a bit of money in it. And actually I was really good at it. Like, I was getting results for people. It just grew. It's gradually grown from there, really. And as I've worked with more and more people, I've been very much, like, I really enjoy working with really successful leaders. And a lot of them are quite humble, though. So they naturally... Better than working
with shit leaders, though.
Well, yeah. But they're just so interesting. Some of the people are so interesting. Like, what they've done and what they've achieved is brilliant. It's, like, fascinating. And they're just, like, interesting people.
You should totally write a book about it.
Funny you should say that.
So, you have written a book, though?
I have written a book. It is on Amazon. It came out.
5-star reviews from what I hear.
Yeah.
19 5-star reviews.
19. It
Available
should be a
in
lot
a Kindle
more.
edition and paperback.
Quite a few people bought it that haven't done reviews.
So
Any
this
of my
is-
friends that are watching
Does it
this.
tell you? Does it tell you on there how many people have bought the book? I think they used to do that, didn't
it
they?
doesn't. And
Back when
it
Amazon
doesn't.
was just a bookstore, I'm sure. I think they used to do
Yeah, I
it.
think
That's
you're
how old
probably
I am.
right.
I remember when Amazon was just a
It's
bookstore.
all smoke and mirrors now, like you
Yeah,
say.
so it's the world is a lie. Everything you think is real is not real. I am Morpheus.
He's going to be walking around with a red pill and blue pill soon.
Yeah.
So
Eat one.
Tell us about the book then. So how to get at the kick-ass career you deserve.
So I basically just over a year ago wrote it. I just thought I'd amalgamate all my knowledge in one book, basically. So
All the CVs in one book, so it's a pamphlet.
it's basically it talks you through very practical advice about how to actually put a CV together, but it also talks you through how to set up your LinkedIn and sort that out and use that. But also a big section on mindset and how to get the right mindset and how to choose the right career for you. Because sometimes people, especially a lot of people being made redundant at the moment, it's an opportunity for them to choose a new career. But where do you start? Like what's achievable?
Yeah.
My whole kind of concept is like actually everything is a choice, and you pretty much always can do what you want to do. You just might have to make some sacrifices or retrain or start from the bottom or whatever it is. But be realistic and look at it, and work out what the path is for you if it's possible, and if you're willing to take that path. But don't just dismiss stuff and say, oh well, I should have done that years ago. Because
So
so
it's
many
kind of
people
a
get
part
stuck on a
self-help.
path, don't they? They like do
Yeah.
university, they do this, that, the degree, and they go on because that's the path that they set, and they like get a bit stuck on it, and they're like, oh god, I have to be
my
this
wife's
forever.
an example of that. My wife's an example of that. She's never left the education system in that sense because she went, we met in school. From school, we went to university. From university, she's gone then into teaching, is now an assistant head. And she's now at that point where she's like, I don't know if I made the right choice. I don't know whether this is what I want to do. But what can I do? What else can I do?
Can I do now?
The entire industry is the same. All the different people that I know that have left this school and gone to other schools, they're still in the same boat. And maybe it's the industry that's the problem. And so, so you're saying all this, and all I'm sitting there thinking is like, bloody hell, you need to sit down and talk to my wife. She's in that same place, because there's a lot of really cool stuff that she's done, organised all sorts of different events and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and,
I bet.
Yeah, and like, it's really interesting stuff. And I'm like, you could transition across into, any number of different career paths that are still related to kind of the educational world. But you could go and work for Read Write Inc., but be a salesperson for them, or be
or do project management for someone.
That's right. Yeah. But she can't see that. Like, she can't connect those links. So, is your book focused more on the self-help piece then, or is it real tangible kind of step by step guide of right, do this, then do this, then do this, then ring me and I'll do your kick-ass CV, and then get on LinkedIn.
It's a bit of both. I mean, I'm very big on practical help, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a self-help book. I'd call it more that I've included the stuff about mindset because I think it's really important, and it comes hand in hand. When you're doing your CV. It's not just an airy fairy like go and meditate in the corner for 2 hours about what you want to do for a career, because that's not going to probably help you. But there is kind of like take yourself out for a walk and give yourself some time to think about it, because that is actually quite useful.
Meditate for 2 hours.
But maybe not do that. But but there is very practical advice in there, because a lot of my advice is very common sense stuff, because I've got a CV course as well on Teachable, and it's very, very common sense of how to write your CV. And people often say, oh, wow, I feel like I should have known this, but I wasn't doing it. I've never seen it written down like this before.
You said a really interesting point off camera when we were sort of chatting and kind of setting this up. And it like, a lot of people, as you say, start their CV from, a lot of people start any document from start to finish, right? And a CV in particular, that's the worst way to start, for the reason that the very first thing is a profile or a personal statement that you need to write about yourself. And that's where most people are like, I don't know what to write. I'll forget it. I'm not going to do it. Whereas I like that kind of piece of advice that you give, which is, we'll start with the stuff that's kind of factual and like where you went to school, what university you went to, what your grades were, what your key skills are, what systems can you use, what are the dates of employment that you've got. And then kind of by the time you finish that piece, you can then be like, right, I'm ready to talk about myself now, because I've almost gone down that memory lane of, oh yeah, I'm actually really fucking good at what I do. Now let me go and tell you about what I do. Yeah, I like that. Very... we're going to use that on our recruitment business side, because again, we get a lot of candidates that struggle with their CVs. Now, We do offer we'll help you with your CV, but do we do it to the extent that you do? Absolutely not. Yeah, could we build a business on the back of that? No. It is more, if we're being completely kind of honest, it's more a case of taking you as an applicant through a journey of, let's get your CV looking good for my client, because that's really my end goal here, is to fill this role with this client. My goal is to find you a job, but it really is to find somebody to do the job that I've been engaged to fill, because that's my job, you know? Whereas what you're doing is kind of giving them almost the key to kind of be like, right here, now your CV's in a good place. Go and apply for the jobs that you want. Go and chuck your application in, knowing that it's probably going to get read more than not.
On that point then, how do you think your CV transition into the recruitment world? Because a lot of recruiters will just like breathe all over a CV, and you can see that they've rearranged everything, and they'll carbon copy it based on the job description that they're trying to fill and all that sort of stuff. So do you think your CV would then transition well into recruitment agencies, or is this more for kind of candidates to apply direct to kind of vacancies?
Yeah, I think it's very easy to like edit and stuff, so it's certainly not going to be like a stumbling block if they need to edit it. But I mean, I would necessarily recommend that you let a recruitment agency like trash the CV and totally change it. But obviously,
especially when they've gone out of the way to pay you and go through a service.
I mean, for the majority of my clients, I would say they probably don't really use agencies anyway, because they're not applying for the kind of roles that go necessarily through agencies. It depends on the agency as well. I think, like, obviously, you get some, maybe higher level people that are a bit more, and like headhunters and stuff that are probably a bit more personal with it anyway, because they've got the time to take over individual candidates and stuff. But I mean, I think quite a lot of the people are they're proactive enough, and that's part of what I teach them anyway, of how to use LinkedIn to go and look for roles or find companies that they think they want to work for and start building relationships with the people there and stuff. So it's not always going to be through like agencies and stuff anyway, so it's not really necessarily an issue. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much control you can have over that. Do you know what I mean? That's out of my hands.
One of the issues that we've always had with some of the sort of training and the practices that we've seen in agencies is you have somebody's CV come in, and then they just edit pretty much the first job that's on there with like, oh, this client says that they want somebody who's used .NET. Okay, this person's used .NET. It now says that they need to manage a team of 4. Oh, this person managed a team of 5. And it's like, okay, this sort of it you can see just agency vomit all over this. Where
Sean's breaking down the fourth wall here. That's an insider secret. That's a big insider secret. Carbon copy in the CV. You take the job spec and you literally go, oh yeah, all these keywords,
I'm going to chuck them into.
They just so happen to be in this fantastic candidate CV. Oh, Mr. Client,
but that is pretty much tailoring your CV, but you just have to do it in a clever way. Like you have to do it in a way that actually makes sense, and also, it needs to be genuine.
It's also a short-term solution, though, right? Because what you're doing is you're offering a long-term solution, because you're finding out what it is that one of your clients is looking for, to be able to take that to market, to say, okay, I want a role where this is what I want to achieve in the next 5, 6, 7 years, and this is what I want to get out of a new job and a new business. Whereas the CVs that we're talking about, the carbon copy CVs, are literally just, oh look,
they're to serve a purpose. They're to go through a process, and I think the reality is that within the recruitment world, especially, CVs have just become a thing you have to have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we argue this with clients all the time, and we've got a range of tech roles on at the minute where they're asking for the CV, but they also want the candidate's LinkedIn profile and their GitHub repository, which is basically where they store their code, or a portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, those two things are more important than that CV, because the CV is literally a kind of like boast about yourself kind of thing. And LinkedIn's got everything you need. Their career history's on there. There's an area of like, here's about me and that kind of thing. You'd think by now that LinkedIn would have got rid of the entire concept of having a CV, but
not everybody's on LinkedIn though.
No, but this is the point. But a lot more people are now, right? And when you've got clients that are now going, also send me their LinkedIn. I want to see their LinkedIn, because I want to see their activity. I want to see their personality. I want to see the social element
to put their link on,
right?
Normally. I encourage, because I normally, as part of what I do, is I sort out someone's LinkedIn at the same time as doing their CV.
Yeah.
Because I said people will look for you on LinkedIn and look at your
absolutely.
profile, so.
We do. And also one thing we will definitely do, and this is advice to kind of anybody who's listening as a candidate, we will marry up the dates. So if your CV says
Yeah, I
something,
know, yeah, I always
your
say
LinkedIn
that.
better say the
Don't
same
lie.
thing, because if it doesn't, then it's
What's
a bit
going on?
that's trash. We know there's something
or
of
taking
it.
stuff out of your LinkedIn. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're just going to put in there like, oh, I worked for Marcus Rhymer Group from like 2017 to 2020, and it's like, your CV says that you worked there from like 2019. Just so happens to be there was another job before that or something. Do you know, people tend to do that, and it just
We look for discrepancies and stuff, and so do hiring managers, internal HR teams, talent acquisition teams, and hiring managers will use LinkedIn as a reference tool of like, this guy's lying, because on his CV there's no sense check really. You could write where we joke about it all the time, but we're like, we've said this before, where if this all fails, as far as anybody's concerned, when we're applying for jobs, we were like head of retail for Debenhams and Toys R Us and every other retail business that's gone out of business, but they cannot sense check, right? But on LinkedIn, you can't do that, because we get a notification. If somebody puts on their CV that they've worked for us as a page owner, I get a notification that comes through and says, is this accurate? Do you want to amend this? So you can't kind of lie on LinkedIn in that sense. Whereas with the CV, you can write that you worked wherever you want.
I mean, even lying on a CV is dangerous, though, I think.
Everybody lies on their CV. Come on.
Do they?
Are you telling me that you tell your customers not to lie on a CV?
Tristan, pull up Rebecca's LinkedIn. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at how many jobs have you had?
I've had loads.
We've all had loads.
No. Let's not do it this way. Tristan, do you mind googling the stats on how many people have admitted to lying on a CV?
I'm sure
because
loads
I'm fairly certain, it's just like the done thing, right?
But I still wouldn't. I
remember I had an interview once where a guy literally went, "Look, we both know that 70% of a CV is bullshit. So here's a highlighter. Here's your CV. Highlight to me the bits that are bullshit." And I was like, "Uh-oh." Fully like, uh-oh.
The names.
It's not even me.
No, zero bullshit policy for me. I never bullshit.
Constitute as bullshit.
Yeah, look at that. 1 in 12 Brits have lied about a qualification on their CV. 1 in 12.
Mate, I question the qualification of some of our guys.
I know someone who recently had this as well, that they had someone that they hired and then they weren't doing like the job and they were off sick and it was all a bit of a nightmare. So like, it's probation period, I'm going to have to look at getting rid of this person. Started researching stuff on their CV. Turned out they'd lied about an apprenticeship that they'd finished or whatever, and like business admin or something. It wasn't even it wasn't like a degree or whatever.
I mean, if you're going to lie, you're going to lie about your astrophysics degree, aren't you?
I know, it's like
Masters.
really? And
or your master's in
checked
computer
it out.
science.
It's like, oh, it's all absolute lies. And it's like, oh my God, like this is really bad.
We had a guy that used to work here, Liam. Shout out Liam. Really good guy. Right. I had loads of time for him. He left us to go work for his mate. And he had an English degree. And his spelling, grammar, just use of the language.
Atrocious. It was
the
atrocious.
Use of the language.
He had to do a key skills thing, didn't he, for the apprenticeship?
Failed.
Yeah, and he failed the English element of the
poor
key
Liam.
skills. It was so funny.
Liam, I kept saying to him as a joke, I was like, Liam, one day, mate, I am going to check whether your degree is legit. And he's like, yeah, let me know what you do. Yeah. But it's true, though. I mean, I suppose it depends on what you constitute as a lie, though, as well, on a CV. I mean, if you're sitting there saying that...
Having a degree when you don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's massive to me.
Look, I've got a degree and I've had multiple jobs. I've never ever had to evidence my degree. In fact, I don't even know where the paper part of the qualification is. I noticed the other day at my mum's house, there's the picture of me graduating and then like the form, and most people that's where they keep their little scroll thing. Only I don't know where my scroll thing is, and that's basically just a certificate of attendance.
That's not the scroll. Missing.
Yeah, the scroll is missing. I don't know. Apparently,
to be fair though, you could.
But no one's ever questioned it. No, and I've worked for big banks and building societies, and nobody ever asked me for a copy of my degree. So as far as I'm concerned, that when I'm in my late 50s, early 60s, I'm gonna start bullshit. Oh yeah, I got an astrophysics degree. I was in the Forbes 30 by 30. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they can just ring the university and find out though.
Yeah, but very few people they can, but very few people do. Is my point.
No, but I think the issue is if you start fucking up at work, then they are going to start checking stuff.
Yeah.
But which point?
And then if you've lied,
who cares? Yeah.
So have you ever had a client? You don't have to name names, but have you ever had a client where you've snuffed out a load of bullshit? You're like, you're full of shit here.
To be honest, not really.
Well, you can't because they're paying for your service.
No, but my
who's gonna
caliber
do
of
that?
client as well. I don't think I attract those type of people because my whole branding and everything I do is so zero bullshit that's my whole thing. So I think those kind of people just wouldn't want to work with me anyway.
No, they're working with those LinkedIn influencer coaches of you need to get up at 4 a.m. and get down the gym at 5.
Precisely.
And, bollocks.
Yeah, so it's just not my sort of thing anyway. So
I got up at 5 this morning, and that's because my son started crying. I stumbled in to try and go get him, making him some milk, and I just sat there on the bed questioning my life, thinking, "What?"
I completely forgot Theo existed for a minute, and I thought you were on about your 13-year-old. I was like, why are you getting up to check on your 13-year-old crying? Like,
yeah,
why?
Yeah, I couldn't do the whole 4:30 waking up, doing all of that sort of influencer type.
It's all bollocks, isn't it? Yeah.
To be an effective entrepreneur, you've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go running for 10 miles and then come back. And,
I know, it's just nonsense.
Chew on a protein
honestly.
shake.
You've got to have an ice bath or whatever as well. That's
that's the new thing, isn't it? Yeah, no, I'm all right, thanks. Like, just standing outside in the morning having a fag is like cold enough.
I tested that theory the other day, right? And I was like, all right, I'm going to just turn the shower off. I'd finished having a shower. I was like, I'm just going to put it on cold just to see what this does.
Jesus.
Horrific.
I put the shower on cold. I was like, this is a bad idea.
At least you haven't got loads of hair. It's worse when you've got like loads of hair because the hair gets cold and wet and it's just awful. I've tried it because I've got ADHD and it's supposed to be really, really good for dopamine boosting. Like really good. It's supposed to be ideal for ADHD, but I can't hack it, man. I hate being cold.
Is that why they encourage it? Is it because of the dopamine?
Yeah, it boosts your dopamine when you have a cold shower.
I didn't feel like I boosted my dopamine. Just instantly
It's made you
felt
angry
regret.
and upset.
Boosted dopamine makes me cry and angry. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But if you haven't got ADHD, you've probably got enough dopamine anyway, so you're all right.
Did you not hear my 5 o'clock in the morning story? I don't have any dopamine. My dopamine is coffee.
So when were you diagnosed with your ADHD?
Last year. Yeah, last year.
Last year. Okay, so as soon as that. So what made you go, do you know what? I think I need to go and sort of look into this.
My daughter, the doctor questioned that my daughter might be autistic in the lockdown when I took her for something, and I was like, this is bullshit. What is this? This doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. There's nothing wrong with her. What's the problem?
7 years of medical school.
Because he didn't want to look like, she didn't want to look him in the eye and stuff like that. And I was like, well, that's normal.
She's
like,
just
he's a
child.
stranger.
Yeah.
Why would you want to look a stranger in the eye and all this kind of, and I was like, that's completely
Also,
what I was
why
like
don't
as a
I look my daughter in the
child.
eye?
Like, I don't understand the problem. And so I just kind of justified it all to myself. And then, like, as time went on, a few things happened. Obviously, the lockdown highlighted a lot of stuff because we were spending like 24/7 with the kids, and it was like, okay, maybe this doctor had a point actually. And so, anyway, I got my daughter diagnosed, assessed and diagnosed privately because the NHS route is
you'd still be
a
waiting,
nightmare.
unfortunately.
Basically, it's a laughable. It's about 4.5 year wait around here, I think. Jeez. So we did that privately, and then as we were going through that process and all the stuff that was coming up, I was like, okay, shit, a lot of this is quite familiar and I'm really similar to Hannah. So, and I realised also a lot of my friends are like autistic or had ADHD, and I was like, I get on really well with these people. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's because I am. And I just started like the process of my mind. I was like, oh. So then I got myself assessed privately as well. Was assessed as autistic and with ADHD, and I was like, huh? It was just all a bit like, what the hell? It's really weird.
So what sort of signs were you looking at then? So you obviously spent 24/7 with your daughter. So was there anything then that you sort of what were the noticeable things where you were like, I think this is something that you should look at?
I don't know. Part of it's just like being overwhelmed by certain situations and things, and like just getting really angry like really quickly about things, or like not being able to like regulate her emotions very well. I mean, I think it's hard with young children anyway because that's what they can be like. But it's as they get a bit older and they're still struggling, it's like, okay.
We're going through this with my eldest. That's the only reason I ask, is because we keep getting told by the school, you need to kind of go down this assessment route, and we're just like, nah, she's fine.
See, interestingly for us, the school never flagged anything because generally speaking, she's like perfect at school. And funnily enough, the person that assessed her was like, that's a red flag straight away. Yeah. If especially a girl is very completely perfect at school and never does anything wrong, that's like seen as a sign because they're masking. They're like,
that's it. This is what we're going through at the minute.
That's interesting.
She had a massive breakdown just before, I think it was like after September. So he kind of just started in year 2, blah blah blah, and she wouldn't tell us what was wrong, and like, my teacher hates me, and it's going to be everything's gone wrong, and blah blah blah. And we're like, all right, what happened? And because I do all the school drop offs and stuff, so we're sat in the car and I'm driving in, and I'm like, do you want to talk about what happened, darling? And she's like, well, Mrs. Gill shouted at me because I was shading in a box during the test, and I was like, oh, okay, and now she hates me, and the whole school year's ruined. And I was like, okay, What do you mean she shouted at you? And she's like, well, she's told me I shouldn't be doing that and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, should you have been doing your test at the time? She goes, no, I'd finished my test. I was waiting for everybody else to catch up. So she just like started colouring in a box. And the teacher was having a bad day. So she kind of was like, oh, well, you stop, to Angeli. And didn't think anything more of it. But she had taken that as my teacher now hates me. I've ruined school.
She'd run with
the
it.
year is over.
Massively.
And honestly, and she was really beating herself up about it. And so we had parents' evening and we sat and talked about it and stuff. And she was like, right, okay, I'll keep an eye out. And then she's kind of like, this just brings us back to our point, though. You sure you don't want to get her assessed? Because we do feel like she could benefit from it. And
no, fuck, I've stopped shouting at my daughter.
Yeah. And I was just like, nah, I think I'll just leave it a bit longer. Because for me, it's not a case of like, I don't see it as a hindrance to her. Do you know what I mean?
No, not at all. I think, should I tell you the reason why I've gone down that route?
Yeah. What's the benefit of going out and getting it?
Because at the moment she doesn't need support at school and everything's fine. But as she gets older and like social groupings and stuff change and you change schools, she may well need support or help or more understanding for certain situations. And if you haven't been assessed and you haven't got that in place and you're starting it then, it's too late.
No chance.
Do you know what I mean? You're going to get nothing. It's going to take, by the time you get everything in place, there's already damage is done and it's a nightmare and they don't want to go to school ever again. And you can end up in an absolute nightmare situation because I've seen it with other people. And so I thought I'd rather have that all in place. And like also it helps her understand herself and what she needs and what she wants to do. Like she'll say, I need some alone time. I need some quiet time.
Yeah, and you kind of know.
And she can go and have like after school now she always has quiet time. Whereas we used to try and make her like be involved with the family or come do this after school, like, which was her worst nightmare. Because I'd be like,
we were brought up though, weren't we? Like, come and have family time.
Yeah, it's
enjoy
weird.
It.
Like having her sit in her room by herself. I was like, oh, this doesn't seem right, you know. But now I really recognise that's exactly what she needs after school because school's been so overwhelming
Sensory
for like
overload,
6 hours of like
Yeah.
full on. You need just some time by yourself. And to be honest, I'm the same with situations like that. Like if I've been in a really busy situation, I need some like headspace time afterwards.
2 hours in the corner meditating.
Yeah, well, precisely.
So does she understand it then? And is she kind of in tune with what's happening and when it's happening and how it's happening?
To an extent, it's a process we're working on. She finds it quite hard to talk about and stuff. But I've got like there's various books. There's a really good book actually, which has got like they use ice cream as an analogy for like explaining autism.
Yeah.
And it's like really interesting way to do it. It's like, oh, you have a scoop of this and a scoop of that. And it's all explaining how everyone's different. Like obviously on the autism spectrum it's still totally different. Yeah. You're still completely different to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's other children at school who are autistic and obviously some of them really struggle and can't even sit in a class and are like running around or doing something else or, you know, struggling with their behaviour and stuff. And, you know, Hannah was like, well, I'm nothing like that. I'm like, no, you're not. You're completely different.
But they're told, I have the conversation with my wife all the time. It's sort of like, but the problem is it's whilst we understand that autism is a spectrum and people range on that spectrum, children don't understand that because they're in a box of you're autistic, you're autistic, you're autistic. And it's like, we're all three very different people. This person's running around in circles and shouting at everybody, and this person's sticking their fingers in her ear and doesn't want the noise. Yeah, and I'm somewhere in the middle.
That's why it's important to understand that and help explain it to children and stuff so that they do get it. Because I think they've got I think they can understand it. You just have to explain it well and like
there you go.
Introduce it to them like in that way rather than sort of like boxing people. Because I think actually children are far more open-minded than most adults. So
they're curious.
Yeah, our minds close as we get older. Yeah, but absolutely they do. No, thank you for sharing that.
That's right.
So your YouTube channel then? What's the plan with that?
Well, it's brand new, so it's not got many subscribers yet.
Pull it up, Tristan. We'll subscribe to it. Go on, pull it up, Tristan. We'll subscribe to it now.
So it's only just started. I've got my CVA to Z going out on there at the moment.
What's it called?
Probably Kick-Ass CVs. Put me on the spot now. I can't remember.
I don't know what Kick-Ass Big Daddy is, but I'll come back to that one.
Yeah, there you go. It's just me. It's my A to Z. So I haven't got any new stuff on there yet, like brand new content. But that's the plan. Is I've got loads of content planned, which I'm going to record soon and get up on there. Just wanted to try a different platform, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about in your content then? What you giving your listeners or your viewers?
Loads of CV tips and how to sort out your CV and like real practical stuff of like literally how to
meditate in a corner.
Yeah, how to turn your shit CV into a kick-ass one, basically.
Yeah,
because a lot of the tips are quite practical and like common sense wise, but not everyone is. There's people still aren't doing it. Do you know what I mean? You
But
still see really
it's one of
shit
those-
long CVs, and
It's
you're like,
one of
what
those
are you
things that
doing?
you never learn to do you? Nobody ever sits you down and goes, son, I'm going to teach you how to write a CV today. It just doesn't happen.
No,
right?
interestingly, I'm hopefully working with some schools soon to work with some like year 12 students because there's some schools that are really like wanting to teach children precisely
practical
how
stuff.
to write a CV and actually how to use LinkedIn and stuff. And I was like, that's really good. Like that's
That's
good.
great. Yeah.
Skills to
It's about
have.
time, really.
Because the actual careers advice and stuff you get in school is often
Well, they didn't
very
exist anymore.
dated.
Remember when we were at
it's
school, you used to have
rubbish.
connections and stuff like that. You used to be able to go
Connections,
see a
bloody
careers
hell.
advisor and like for those of you like BB who are like really, really young, we used to have this thing called connections in our school, which is almost like that's a career coach or something. I don't know. I used to just
I don't
sit
know
down-
how they managed to win a contract to have some weird pervy bloke or woman sat in a school full of kids and telling them, oh yeah, well, based on this questionnaire you filled out, you'd be really good as a dustman, like a dustbin person, and like or just like really we had
Shit, they did do that, didn't they?
yeah they did yeah.
I just-
Mine was I was always told I should be a forensic scientist, like a CSI type person,
because
because
at
I
the
was
time
very
you were-
very good at science.
Yeah,
like
and also
analytical
probably
brain.
really interested in kind of something on the telly at the time that linked to that, right?
Maybe,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
Mine was a copper, I think.
yeah. I think mine was either.
Yeah, you look like you could be a copper.
Yeah.
Is that offensive? I don't know.
That, yeah,
It's really
I
offensive.
wouldn't take that.
It depends how you view the
Yeah.
police, I guess.
Fuck the police.
Oh, God, let's not go down that road.
That took a turn. Right, no, fair enough. Yeah, no. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But do let us know how you get on with the school stuff. That'd be really interesting. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a new avenue I'm hoping to branch into a little bit. Do some workshops
Barge
in
into.
school.
Branch into.
I thought you said barge.
I'm going to barge in. Come on.
You could.
You could.
Throw them straight back out. But
No,
so we could do workshops, or is it going to be like classroom based stuff? Have you not mapped out yet?
Not 100% sure. I've done some workshop type stuff, but there was the one school I've been talking to are hoping to do a bit more than that they actually want the initial workshop of showing them how to do it all and then go back and actually individually speak to students and help them with their individual CVs and like give them feedback on what they've come up with, which I think would be really powerful. Like obviously if schools can make time and budget for it, that's the issue, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's always
Always.
going to be the budget. Fucking Tories.
Budget and time is like the things they haven't got, but
But big contrast though, isn't it? In terms of sort of like senior leaders who are kind of at the pinnacle almost of their careers to complete like work behind the ears.
Yeah,
kids
not
with no
for a
experience.
creative copywriting type though. Yeah.
no, I love variety. That's ADHD is all about that. Got to keep it fresh. Keep doing new things.
Get
Fantastic.
yourself down to the job centre. Talk to the guys who are struggling to get work.
That's a different like.
I think there's a different
It's a
different
variety,
challenge there. Yeah, it's a different challenge there, though,
I'm
isn't it?
not. Yeah, I mean, I'll be
There's-
honest. I
yeah.
worked with a place in Leamington, an employment hub in Leamington that does really good work for free. Like helps people back into work who are like. I don't know, I wanted to, the unemployables, but like, people who are proper
That sounds like a
struggling.
Channel 4 documentary.
Exactly,
It
yeah.
does, yeah. The
But-
unemployables.
Yeah, in the nicest possible way. It was a little bit like that. But yeah, I went in and did like an interview workshop with them, just to help them out and, give them some ideas and stuff, and support. So I'm quite passionate about doing stuff like that with different groups of people. But obviously I haven't got time to do it all the time.
There are charities and stuff like that, there, don't there? They're like, is it Sure Start's one of them?
Mm-hmm.
You've got like Job Shop and stuff like that as well. So there are a few bits out there. But yeah, I think it depends on. I mean, people talk to you about you should create a niche, you should do that, but you know what you're good at, though, don't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, and I like to do a bit of like in-person delivery stuff as well as doing like,
Via
sort
Zoom.
of one-to-one Zoom stuff with clients. Like, it's quite nice to get out and do in-person stuff. It's a bit out of my comfort zone, to be honest, but that's why I do it, because I think that's important to do stuff like that.
What about scalability? Do you think this is something that you can bring additional people in and teach them what you do?
Potentially. In the lockdown, it got mega busy with CVs, and I did have someone working with me, like who I trained to be a CV writer, and they were doing a lot of the CVs, and I was doing kind of more like volume then, and like working with just a range of people, not just senior leaders. And so I actually stopped writing CVs for a bit, like I didn't do that many, and I was kind of managing it all, and it was all like really busy, and it was good. But then when I think he had some time off or something, and I had to do some CVs, and I was like, oh, I forgot I really enjoy this, like, and I'm really good at it. And because I was still having to edit the CVs that he'd done
Yeah.
and perfect them and stuff.
Is he now a competitor?
No, it's someone that worked in recruitment and did something
He
different.
makes butt kicking.
They did it on the side anyway. It was like,
And here he is, George.
Yeah, exactly. Fine. Yeah, they were doing it on the side basically as a bit of extra money or whatever, and it worked for that period of time because it was like a crazy time in the lockdown anyway, wasn't it? But it just, for me, it made me look at my whole business and think, actually, what do I really want to be doing? And actually, I really enjoyed working with clients.
Yeah,
and doing that stuff, and that's the thing I'm really good at. And I think it'd be quite hard to, like, no one else is going to be me, are they? So they're not going to be able to do it in quite the same way. With the other stuff, delivering workshops and stuff, that is something that's potentially like you can train someone else to do in that way, maybe. So that's why it's worth looking into those things. Yeah. So it's something potential. I want to grow, but I'm very like mindful with that stuff because my children are still quite young and they still need me quite a lot. I don't want to like grow too fast and then, you know, be working all the hours and trying to scale things and whatever.
Yeah, whereas
it's always that moment where you're like, oh God.
Sometimes as kind of business owners, we forget that, right? That when you're an employee, you're crying out for work-life balance. You're crying out for, if my son has broken his arm, or you know, there's a nativity to go to, or a school play, or something like that.
2 weeks
you know,
ago,
I want to be able to go to it, but when I'm an employee and I'm on someone's payroll, I've got to beg, borrow, and plead for time off to do it. Whereas if you get to that point where you're like, listen, my bills are paid, I'm comfortable, I'm enjoying what I do, and if I don't want to get up tomorrow, I don't have to get up tomorrow. If I want to knock off early to take the kids somewhere, I can do that. Like, that's worth gold. Because then if you start going, I'm going to start scaling and growing, well, then you're jumping back into that, okay, work-life balance isn't a thing anymore. I need to really scale and grow. And that's my focus, which then takes you away from the reasons you originally set up in the first place.
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of people forget that.
Yeah, I think you've got to be really careful because I think you can grow really quickly and then suddenly it's all out of control. And
then it's all smoke and mirrors.
And then it's all smoke and mirrors and bullshit.
The whole world is.
So what's next then for you, Rebecca? Another book?
I'm relaunching my book, a second edition of my book, because I need to update the LinkedIn parts because it's not like massively out of date, but LinkedIn has added so much stuff recently and really like changed the way it does some things. I think it just needs a little bit of a refresh.
Do you think there's scope out there for wider social platforms as well then? So could you apply what you're doing to things like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram?
No, because I think LinkedIn is very different to any of those platforms. And I personally hate Facebook, so I don't have anything to do with it. I'm on there because I'm in a couple of like groups that I need to be in or whatever, but generally speaking,
you hate Facebook.
Yeah, it just brings negativity to me generally. I don't know why, but like it's not like I'm connected to loads of, you know, my friends and nice people or whatever, but I don't know, sometimes you scroll the feed on Facebook and it's
full of fucking waffle, isn't it?
Just nonsense, honestly.
I had a guy.
It's like,
yesterday.
check out my breakfast and.
Mine's worse than that. I had this lad from school that is on my Facebook. He put out, cost of living crisis. You lot need to all stop being so fucking lazy. Get a second job if you need to do this. It's like you're fully just believing kind of whatever the news is telling you, right?
And that's the other problem, I think. Yeah,
and it's like,
far more people like that seem to be on Facebook.
And it was surprising, really, because he wasn't like. He's an Indian guy, right? He hasn't come from money or anything like that, so he's had all of the disadvantages that you would expect him to have, but he's still like banging this drum of, oh yeah, but like everyone's just lazy. They should get this. You can't, like, you're moaning about the price of gas and electric, but you're buying this £10 Starbucks coffee, and it's like I'm pretty sure they're not. I'm pretty sure like somebody buying a £10 Starbucks isn't going to get them the opportunity to afford their £400 fucking gas bill, but it's just. So for that reason, I'm really just like not into any of the social. I'll browse through TikTok just to watch the funny videos. Me and Nick, we just like, you could tell with me and Nick scrolling through TikTok because we just pinging
videos back and forth to each other. Yeah, I don't use Facebook much really. I use it for like Facebook kind of sign car groups.
Yeah,
you know, with like, oh hey, something else has gone wrong with the car. Can somebody help? Any suggestions?
Yeah, well, I do poll and like my like Pole Fitness and like the group for that arranges stuff is on there. So like if there's changes to classes,
show. You can't talk about that.
If there's changes to classes and stuff, you need to be on there to know what the hell's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Lauren,
and I'm in a coaching group. So.
She's like, I want to do Pole Fitness. She goes, it looks so good.
It's really good. Yeah.
I was like, where are we going to put a hole in the house?
Got one in the middle of my lounge.
Have you actually?
Oh yeah, that's sick. I always see those videos though, like we're going to do the pole thing,
And it
the
falls
pole just
over.
collapses.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with people. Honestly,
Just fit them properly, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So yeah, good luck with the
on that bombshell.
on that bombshell. Yeah. Fit them properly. But yeah, good luck with the second edition of the book. When's that likely to be done by?
Hopefully May time. I think May before.
Okay, because May sounds far
April,
enough
May.
away, but close enough.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of procrastination, and it'll probably be done like the week before. So that's
Yeah.
how I roll. It's
Yeah,
ADHD for you.
she's like, really, to be honest, I could have it done by next week, but I need to give myself a deadline and then rush the week before the deadline's here. Yeah.
100%.
Cramming. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I do everything.
That was my uni life, basically. Yeah. I got plenty of time. Oh crap, we haven't got very long.
Thing
We need
is,
to get it
though,
done.
a lot of people work best under pressure, though. Have you heard the? I was doing this with Sky the other day. It's called the Pomodo method or something like that. Have you heard?
The what?
Pomodoro.
Pomodoro, that's it. Yeah. Which is basically you set yourself deadlines. So you do a task. You set yourself a deadline of like, I don't know, 25, 30, 40 minutes or whatever, and you give that one task your full attention, and nothing else. And then once you finished it, you give yourself a 5-minute break to do whatever you want to do.
I mean, that
Scroll on
works.
some
That
shit.
works
Yeah.
See, that works for certain people, but I can't focus like that. I have this weird streak in me where even if I'm like rebelling against myself, I've told myself, right, you got 25 minutes, you need to get this done. I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. And it's like,
I
that
have
wasn't
that problem
productive
as well.
at all.
I can bullshit myself into anything. I could justify anything to myself. I'm like, oh, I deserve this cake.
Yeah.
I definitely deserve it. But like, yeah, I think it's difficult with that kind of stuff, and that's why I'm the same. Like, because I can make up a deadline and be like,
Yeah,
oh,
but I'm going to miss it.
But I know I've made that up, so it doesn't matter. You know, I know that's not the real deadline.
Yeah, it's like I'm not accountable to anybody other than myself, and I don't like myself, so I'm going to be like, no, fuck you, I'm not going to finish it by then.
You've got somebody else's deadline then. So if you've got a client that you're working with who wants to get a CV sorted by X date, you're going to then be like, oh, fucking, that's a deadline I've got to hit.
Exactly,
because,
and I hate it when people say, "Oh, there's no rush," you know, whenever you get time. I'm like, don't
please
say
give
that
me
to
a-
me because you will not get your CV until next year.
Yeah. I hope there's no rush in your job search.
So I always make sure I set a deadline with a client, because otherwise it's like, yeah,
It's a fictitious deadline though. Who cares? Even their deadline's fictitious.
Yeah, life is all smoke and mirrors.
It's just all smoke and mirrors. Yeah, jeez.
It is.
You should get that on a tattoo.
Yeah,
Yes,
I should. I haven't got
In
a
fact,
lot.
let's talk about your tattoos.
No, let's not
You
do
got any
that.
space
Yeah?
left?
No. He's
I've
got a really,
plenty of space
really
left.
good tattoo. What was the first tattoo you got, Nick? I'm sure you'll enjoy this.
It was some Spanish writing.
Yeah.
Oh God, what did it mean?
It says nothing is impossible. No, that's impossible. There, not across there. Just so happened to be the name of Ricky Martin's first album. I thought it sounded fucking
Ricky
brilliant.
Martin vibes.
Yeah, and I was like, ah, crap. Like, because I googled it and I was
hilarious.
like, ah, crap. It's Ricky Martin's first album. Big Ricky Martin fan, clearly.
Obviously.
I didn't actually mind his music, to be fair. His music videos left a lot to, like, kind of, didn't leave much to the imagination, but, you know. Anyway.
You seem to remember them well.
I do, yeah.
I've only got one tattoo. I got it when I was 40.
I thought it'd be like an ice cream, but was
No.
it like Be Love?
Be love, yeah.
Be Love.
Just to remind me that should be your motivation for everything.
I mean,
Not
grammatically, that
bullshit.
doesn't really, like, mean anything, does it?
Why not?
Be Love.
You can't be love, can you?
Why not?
In a world
Yes,
where
you
you can
can.
be anything, be love. No.
That's
Yeah,
what-
why,
I mean,
why can't you be?
Because it's not a tangible thing to be, though, is it?
Isn't
You
it?
can have love or give love. That would make more.
No, I think
Or
you can
provide
be
it.
Probably.
She's there like, oh, crap.
No, I think you can be it though. That's
No,
what
yeah.
I think.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you be?
How
love
does one
then?
be love?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's about like thinking about whatever you're doing and your interaction and stuff. That's what your motivation should be for things, not out of guilt or like jealousy or being selfish or whatever. Like, and it's not, it's an ideal. So it's like it doesn't happen a lot of the time when I'm
There
driving and
it
I'm
is.
getting angry. Like that's not very loving of me. But I just feel like that's like if everyone was a bit more like that, it'd be a
Yeah.
better place, wouldn't it? I know this is all a bit,
I'm gonna get one. Yeah. Be grumpy.
Be grumpy.
I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying getting to that phase of my life where I can just be really grumpy for no reason.
We're at that point where we're like, we're at our peak happiest when we have something to complain about. Do you know what I mean? When we were younger, we'd look up at like parents or like older parents, like grandparents and that kind of thing. Older parents.
Two sets of parents.
Yeah, two sets of parents, yeah.
You know
I was
the
looking
older
at very-
ones.
yeah.
Oh yeah, grandparents.
Yeah, grandparents. Those
They
ones.
came
yeah.
up with a word for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he's talking about your grammatically correctness.
yeah. We'd look at them. We'd be like, he's always moaning. He's always angry. I get it now. I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm at peak happiness when I've got something to complain about.
See,
I'm not annoyed. Like I have to explain to my kids sometimes. Like, no, I'm not annoyed. I'm not annoyed. I'm not getting angry. I just
makes me happy.
I really enjoy getting frustrated about something. Like, look at how stupid the government is, or look what they're doing.
Good rant.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Really do.
See, my peak happiness is just silence. Absolute, deathly silence.
You can tell you're a parent if that's your answer, I think.
Yeah, I mean, some of my best evenings are when the missus decides that she's tired and she wants to go to bed early. Kids are in bed. I just get to sit downstairs, and in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch a film. Or I'm going to
Sit in silence.
and I'll just sit in silence and just browse through my phone.
Just sit there and just shut down.
Yeah.
2 hours of meditation in the corner.
Basically, yeah. I think maybe I need to meditate.
Maybe you do. I tried meditation once. It didn't go well. I couldn't stop. I couldn't, like, they're like,
Awesome,
just
mate.
shut your mind down and blah, blah, blah. I couldn't do it. I
You're
couldn't.
No, I find it really hard.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
do it. I tend to do the only way I do it is going for walks in nature, and so instead of like
Yeah.
trying to think of nothing, you just like focus on the sounds from nature and stuff like that. As you're walking, that's
Yeah,
like
then
a
I've
walking.
gone on some
It's
weird
called a
tangent
walking
and start,
meditation.
yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it's quite good. I think it's quite good for creative thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Doing
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
There you go. So, look, thank you very much for coming on Rec Talk today. For our listeners out there who want a kick-ass CV or want to reach out about advice, collaboration, or
How do they reach you?
LinkedIn's the best place to find me.
yeah, on your personal LinkedIn page, right? Not your business one. You said you don't really use that one.
Just
Yeah.
so just look for Rebecca Pay or Kick-Ass CVs. I'm sure you'll find me.
Yeah, no, we will certainly will. But thank you very much for coming on and giving us your time today.
You're very welcome.
Cheers, Rebecca.
Give a little clap so I know that it's where it finishes. But yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Can you
And scene.
stop? And scene. Yeah.
Right, that was a rehearsal, so.
Yes. How that feel?
So now we've done a run through.